is Transforce96 here. So in the video where I'm going to be talking about what I would like to see from an X-Men wave. This is actually a requested review from Cool Review Dude. He requested it on one of my other videos, and it was just something I never thought of, and I thought, this could be a really fun video. So I decided to go ahead and do it. As you can see, put together a little graphic in front of you as to what my ideal X-Men Marvel Legends wave would look like. And I'm a big villains fan, so of course villains do take the front and center, of this assortment. So this would be my ideal wave for X-Men. A lot of these characters I would absolutely love to see, and I kind of put them together in a, from the one that I'd love to see the most to the one I'd love to see the least out of my 8 most. So basically, here's most down to least. So there you go. This would be my ideal assortment. I love the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, and so I would love some core team members in that group, such as Toad, Mystique, Pyro, and Avalanche. I think that they would be great. Pyro and Avalanche are kind of like friends in the comics, so I think that they would just look wonderful together, and I think that their figures could look quite cool. I'd love to see what they do with Pyro's hair, and with Avalanche, I would hope that they'd go the more like silver route on his costume and not so much white. I really do like it when it's like silver. I think that looks quite cool. And Mystique, I would love a classic looking Mystique with the skull belt and the little kind of piece of like loincloth. I mean that's just her coolest look in the comics. So I would love to get a representation of that in figure form. Their latest Mystique figure came out in like 2013, and it was a more modern interpretation, and it was on an old female body sculpt. So that was just a very disappointing figure in general, which is why I would love an updated Mystique in a classic costume. That would be fantastic. Toad, I would love to see them do Toad. They did Toad like in like the first wave of Marvel Legends from Toy Biz, and that looks very cool. I would actually love to get it, but it's gone up in price. But I would love a really the type of Toad that I like is more spindly and skinny and small, rather than that kind of like weird fat with like a bowl cut. That's not the type of Toad that I prefer. Although it's still cool, I do like the one that I have in the 2 pictures here. That's a little bit more spindly and small, and has more, doesn't have such a clean bowl cut, but has more of a longer hair bowl cut. I think that that's the coolest look, and of course, I love all of his crazy lily pad type of features on his gloves and around his neck. I think that looks so cool. Toad's one of my favorite X-Men characters, so I would love that. Lady Deathstrike is another one that I would absolutely love. I really like Lady Deathstrike's design. I think that she's very cool in the comics, and I like her nails. I think that they're just super neat. So I would love a Lady Deathstrike figure. That was one that I believe was rumored not too long ago. So I don't think it's come through, but it would be wonderful if they are going to do Lady Deathstrike soon, because I absolutely love her. Nightcrawler in a classic costume here with those big pointy shoulder pads. I would absolutely love. Nightcrawler is one of my favorite of the heroes from X-Men. I think that he's got the coolest power and just looks very nice. Psylocke, would really love a Psylocke figure. I think that she has a very cool costume. That's one that I would imagine that they're probably going to do pretty soon, because she's a pretty easy figure to do. You just use a woman body sculpt, and then the clothing is obviously just painted on, really nothing new to sculpt other than a head sculpt. I would hope that they go a little extreme with the hair. That would be very cool, especially with her very nice purple hair. It would look awesome if they did a really nice extreme kind of hair sculpt. And then Storm I would love to get. She's a classic member of the X-Men, so I would love to get her. And I'd be happy with her in either costume. You have the black costume that she's wearing in the box there, and then the white one. I do think that I prefer the white one. It's a little more Jim Lee, which I think fits better with some of the other, like the Cyclops that was just released and things like that. So I think I'd prefer the white costume one, but I wouldn't be opposed to the black costume. They both look good, so that would be wonderful. There's still a ton of other X-Men figures that I'd love to see. I mean, like a classic Beast would be very cool as well, and there's a lot actually. While going through this, there was quite a few figures that I was thinking about putting in this, but I could only do 8, so I did restrict it to these. Again, I'm a big villains fan, and that's why the majority of these are villains. But I love all of these characters, and I would love to see them, and I would hope that within some upcoming X-Men waves, we'll start getting a few of these. As far as what I'd like to see the Build-A-Figure be, here's just a few. all of these are Build-A-Figures that have been done in the past by Toy Biz and by Hasbro in their early years, but I would love to see updated versions of them, whether they do the same design or different designs, doesn't really matter, but as long as they update the figures, I would be very interested in. I love Mojo and Blob. They're two of my favorite Marvel characters, and I do have the original Build-A-Figures of both of them, but I think that there's absolutely room for improvement on both of them, particularly with the legs on Mojo, and with Blob I would love to see something more of in this design. This picture of Blob is probably my favorite picture of him from the comics. I would love if they went with something like this and use that expression. That would be fantastic. And then Apocalypse I would love to get as well. I think that Apocalypse, his figure looks the most outdated, so I would definitely love to see a more updated version of him. And obviously Apocalypse has many different looks in the comics, so they could choose a different one as well. And then the Sentinels, again, Sentinels, they never get old, they're always cool. I would definitely love a Sentinel figure, and again, just like Apocalypse, they have so many different looks in the comics that Hasbro could easily choose another one so that it didn't feel like just a rehash, which would be really nice. So there you go. That's my dream wave. I certainly don't expect this to be a wave. This isn't like a video where I'm trying to predict what's going to happen. This is a video that's just me personally, what I would love to see, in a perfect Marvel Legends world, what would the next X-Men wave be? And this would be my X-Men wave if I had my choice. X-Men and Spider-Man waves are my favorite waves from Marvel Legends. I like so many of those characters from the comics, so I always enjoy seeing new Spider-Man and X-Men waves. And since Spider-Man, they've been doing him for so many years, doing waves of his for so many years, that they've kind of exhausted some of the characters at least. But with X-Men, they're just starting to get into it, so there's still so many characters that I would love to see Hasbro make in Marvel Legends form that they still haven't made. So hopefully within the upcoming years, we'll get some of these, if not all. That would be amazing, but we'll have to wait and see. I think that they're all relatively easy to do, not a super whole lot of different sculpted pieces. I think Nightcrawler and Lady Deathstrike would require the most new sculpted pieces. Maybe Toad too, if they wanted to use like a small body sculpt. But the rest of these could be done with just reused bodies and just a few extra sculpted pieces. That they could totally do any of these. So I would love to see this. This would be amazing. This kind of inspired me to do another video similar. That's my dream wave for Marvel Legends if they were doing an X-Men movie series. So I thought that would be fun to put together as well, so I'm also going to be posting a video on that. But let me know what you guys think of what my choices for my dream X-Men wave, and I would absolutely love to hear what your guys' choices would be for a dream X-Men wave if you had the choice. So thanks so much for watching.